Hello, my name is Crystal Cooper, and today I'm going to do my informative speech on the history and the importance of the now federal holiday, Juneteenth, also known as June 19th. So, I know many people don't know the importance of the day and may not even know a little bit of backstory and history behind what led up to Juneteenth being considered a holiday to begin with, let alone a federal holiday. And so I know from many generations before me, after me, and many to come may not even have the opportunity to learn about Juneteenth in their world history classes, or even if they have a civil rights class anymore. I'm not even sure if that still exists in the public school education. But today, that is what I want to educate and inform people on, what that day means and what's the importance of it. So I'm going to start by giving a little history behind Juneteenth. So back in 1863, when Abraham Lincoln was president, on January the 1st of 1863, he signed an executive order. And in that executive order, he issued a claim for all slaves to be freed. And so when he declared that they are freed, that meant from any part of the world where there were slaves, they were to be set free. And so many slaveholders, slave masters, they released the slaves. And if you know anything about history, you know that slavery was really rooted in the South, the deep South. And so while all of the other states did free their slaves down in Texas, there were still slaves. Even after the executive order was signed, a lot of the slave owners down in Texas, specifically Galveston, they kept their slaves captive. And so it took for General Gordon Granger to go down there. June 19th, 1865, almost 2 years later, when he arrived in Galveston, Texas, he discovered that the slave masters there were still holding their slaves captive and still making them do slave work. And so once he arrived there, he demanded that the slaves be set free. And so on that day, June 19th, that is when the official day of slavery ended, because although 2 years prior, when Abraham Lincoln signed the executive order, all slaves weren't free. So June 19th is considered the official day. And so that is why a lot of people in the African American community, and I won't just limit it there because other races and nationalities also celebrate Juneteenth, who understand the importance and the education behind the day. And from that day, people celebrate it in many ways, backyard barbecues, as you would other holidays such as Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, and so on. Juneteenth was celebrated as a holiday. But when Joe Biden was president on July 21st, 2021, he actually mandated it as a federal holiday. He made that June 19th be considered a federal holiday. And so for those who don't know what a federal holiday is, that is a day where some jobs and some companies actually close. If you're working that day, you know, you get paid holiday time for that day. You may even, some companies, if you're off that day, if you work the day before or the day after, you're still paid holiday pay for that day because it is a federal holiday. That is when history was made. And I would love to see down the years what the history books look like, and would that be a factor in the world history for African Americans? We shall see. But that is when history was made. And so from that day forward, July the 21st, 2021, that is when it was really, really a big thing. When Juneteenth comes around, you see a lot of big festivals, you see a lot of block parties, carnivals. It's so much going on Juneteenth. Even this year with so many festivals and just nice things going on for people to gather and, eat, celebrate, and just acknowledge the fact that this day was just not a day where you get off of work, or, this day isn't just a new holiday or a made up holiday, as I've even heard some people say, but it is a real day. It's a real meaning behind the day. And so I say all that to say that, don't ever get distracted by the fact that you may not know something, or you may not know the education behind it, but just try to open your mind up and learn a little bit more about the things that go on around you in the world. Because before us, there was a fight. For the people before us, they fought long and hard. Our ancestors, they fought long and hard. And, they deserve their flowers. They deserve to be acknowledged for the journey that they took and the fight that they took. Because a lot of people lost their lives in slavery. A lot of people didn't make it to see the other side of freedom. And it's been a long journey of injustice for the African American community. And, even to this day, we still see a lot of injustice, and it's still a fight for civil rights and equality. But that is what the day represents and what the day stands for. It's just a celebration of what our ancestors and the people before us fought for, that we finally get to acknowledge that this is a real thing that people went through. People went through slavery. People went through not being able to just as simple as sign online and get the same education as everybody else, or go work the job as everybody else, get the career as everyone else. And so it is a very important day, and it should be treated as such. And so I myself, when it comes around, I love to celebrate. I love to enjoy the day. And I love to educate people on what the day really means, because I know a lot of people don't know what it means. So that is the importance of Juneteenth. We still have a long road ahead of us of fighting for civil rights and injustice and equality, but we've came a long way, and it's only going to get better. And we have to just acknowledge the good of the people before us, who even were not African Americans, but still fought the fight for us to have a step closer to a better future and equality for all. So thank you for listening.